Okay, so this is Chris with Cycle Source Magazine, and it's time for another weekly installment of 60 minutes of bullshit. Anything we can fit, what we see fit, and everything that fits with Chris and Ken. I'm Chris. Ken, what's up, buddy?
Hi there. How are you?
Good, good, good. Ready to get into the news today?
I am indeed. I am.
So, it's firmly turning into winter here in the Northeast, buddy. I don't know about where you're at, but it's cold. The garage fires are starting to kick up. We got the wood burner going at Flat Broke, and here comes winter.
Yeah, it's not actually bad here. It's in the 70s. I'm wearing shorts and my Harley Davidson hoodie. So it's not bad.
And you're
flip-flops,
in Colorado.
as a matter of fact.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Dude.
So, but it's going to be cold this weekend. So, but yeah, yesterday and today have been like perfect fall days. Leaves are coming off the trees. I should be riding my motorcycle, but instead I'm sitting in my basement talking to you.
Well, it's awesome. It's awesome. We've been getting a lot of great response from everyone around the Facebook world. Thank you guys so much for tuning in every week and giving us a chance to get this thing up off the ground. It's actually going better every week. We're getting a little more of the technology figured out, and that's been challenging but kind of fun too. So stick around as we make it better.
Yeah, it keeps me on my toes as far as what's going on in the motorcycle industry. I feel like I'm more connected now than ever as to all the news and stuff that I think people want to know about, you know?
That's the same thing that's happening with me, man. Like it's forcing me to really pay attention to all the news blasts that come across my desk and really see what's happening so that I have something to offer this.
Yeah, for sure.
Or try anyway. But speaking of that, it is time for the news. It's time for the news now. We'll start off with the news. We got some great interviews today. It's going to be a great show. Two of the InMotion builders, again, for this week for our interviews, we have Kiwi Mike from Kiwi Indian, Kiwi Mike Thomas, and Xavier Muriel from Providence Cycle Work. Those are coming up in the second half hour of the show. But right now, we're going to start it off with some stuff that you're bringing to the table.
All right. What do you want to talk about first?
I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a
Let's talk about the stupid one. Come on. Let's talk about the dumb one first. Let's talk about Orange County Choppers coming back to Discovery Channel. I want to hear your take on it.
You know, listen, seriously, I can't really say that this is a dumb one because for whatever jocularity, I guess is a good term to put on that happened when OCC was broadcasting all the time, it brought a great amount of attention to custom motorcycle building, and that was awesome. You know, not to mention
Damn it, you're supposed to disagree with me on this, Chris. I had it all planned out.
Why? Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah.
Well, listen,
I was like, I think it's great, man. You know, like they come back, whatever. Like, I mean, nobody's going to disagree with the fact that when they started out, the custom motorcycle industry was booming.
Absolutely.
Booming. And I'm not saying that they had a part in it, but the other piece of that is, like, that show is not for you and me.
No,
like,
you know
it
what?
It is not meant for us.
I'm really waiting to see. I got some insight on this, okay? So I got to lay this on you before that goes a whole lot further.
Sure.
Will Ramsey, who you know is our tech editor and glad to have him here, and super knowledgeable craftsman, fabricator. Will has actually been contacted by Paul Sr. himself to come into the shop and do some stuff with them. Apparently he's gonna be invited up there for some of the programs and stuff. And I think what you're gonna end up seeing, and maybe this is a good one, Paul, if you're out there and you're listening, maybe we can get you on the show and we can actually talk about some of this, about what the direction of the show is going to be from here. Because just from some of the conversations I've had with Will, I kind of get the impression.
Are you sure that that's supposed to be out there?
Well, what, with Will? Hey, listen,
probably not.
I'm the media, baby. Unless you say to me, this is off the record, that's how you have to start that shit. You can't come back later and say, dude, you weren't supposed to say that.
Yeah, no,
I'm the media, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, I think it's I think there might be a new direction just from the impression that I get. I mean, Paul, you know, away from all the horseshit that went on with the show, you know, through all the later parts of the program, Paul is a serious fabricator. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And while his style of motorcycle isn't necessarily mine, he is a serious fabricator. So at the crux of all of that is the fact that he's a craftsman, and You know, who wouldn't? Who, if you were a craftsman, why wouldn't you want to bring more of that to your show?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, and if you look at what he had, an iron business before, they made like decorative iron gates.
Yeah.
So it's not like he went into something that he had no idea about, and he's always been super passionate about motorcycles. I haven't had a ton of interaction with him. The few times that I did have interaction with Senior, I haven't had really any with Junior, but with Senior, he was fairly self-effacing because the times that I saw him, he was at the Lichter exhibit, and so he was surrounded by motorcycles that he was astounded by,
Right.
and so he was like, I remember him rolling back when the exhibit used to be at the Journey Museum. There, I can't remember what it was called. Gosh, I wish I remember the title of it. But anyways, he had a bike in there, and it was, I think it was a shovel head. It was marginal, and he like looked around and was just like, oh man, this is like, I'm in the wrong place. Like I should have tried harder, because he just kind of brought, I think it was a bobber show. I think that's what it was. It was a bobber show.
Right.
Donnie Luce had that pan head that he built with the scalloped tank that was, hand fabricated in it. And, Jeff Decker had a bike there that Cole Foster had built for his wife, actually. So, I mean, there were just a bunch of like really iconic bikes there that had taken a ton of fabrication. And he was like, wow, this is, like
That's
I'm being outclassed, and so I can respect that. And, like I said, show's not for me, it never did anything for me. I watched Motorcycle Mania, all of them numerous times because I'm that guy. But the American Chopper OCC thing just never really did it for me. I don't know.
I think that kind of speaks to where we are, as far as the custom motorcycle culture and the custom motorcycle industry too. It's really like the amount of knowledge, the amount of craftsmanship and everything has become so cumulative, so fast. There's so much of a dynamo going on with that the difference, it used to be the difference from decade to decade. It really is year to year today. I mean, the stuff that people are coming out with and their abilities, and they're growing by leaps and bounds. So I can understand what you're saying about him being at a show at the level of Lichter's and looking around and just being, in awe of some of this stuff.
Well, and I think that also talks to, I think some of what we talked with maybe it was last week or the week before about, those details in a bike that a lot of people just don't want to put in the effort to do. If you can go and buy a front end, a Springer front end, a lot of people, that's going to be that's what they're going to do. They're going to go, I'm going to go buy a Springer front end, because for the most part, 99% of the population are never going to know that you built that front end. They're just going to go, oh, it's got if they even know what a Springer is, it's got springs on the front, cool. But they're going to have no idea, right?
Wait a minute, though. There's still a segment, and I'd like to believe that there's some of our viewers, but you guys can chime in. We're on Facebook Live. We're watching your comments. I'd like to believe that there's some of our viewers are definitely readers of our publication who just get satisfaction out of putting their hands on stuff. And you can watch their evolution. They get better every time they do something, hopefully. Some of them do, some of them don't. But, they enjoy that part of it, man. I'm one of those guys. I love doing stuff myself. I strive for knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I love that, that concept of just getting in there and getting dirty and trying to find, because a lot of times that piece can't be found.
Right.
That's the whole genesis of aftermarket parts, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't find what you wanted, so you start making it. Then somebody goes, oh, that's a really cool license plate holder. Can I buy that?
Yeah.
Sure, I'll make another one. That's really the genesis of the aftermarket, motorcycle parts.
So listen, while we're on the topic of Facebook Live and the fact that we're looking for comments, sort of the theme that I've established for today's show is an age-old question of why are green motorcycles considered unlucky? I've been reading a bunch of stuff on the internet lately about this, and I just got a kick out of it, and I figured it was something to bring to the conversation. So if you guys have something, you have a story, you have an idea of where this myth of green motorcycles being unlucky comes from, either send us a thing on Facebook Live, or in the last part of the hour you can call in for a couple minutes. But what's your take, Ken? You got any stories about green bikes?
They're just ugly.
Nice, nice.
I just don't see green on it. Like when I think green, I think Kawasaki. Like I can't. There's nothing. I just can't get past that. For whatever reason.
Yeah.
And so that's always what comes to mind. And unless it's like a green and like cream, for me, it's just not. And one of my best friends, Ryan Boyd, built a bitchin' green, Sportster years ago that was really cool, but I'm like green, I think that any other color is better than that. So maybe that's informed by the unlucky thing. I don't know. I don't really believe in that sort of stuff. So it's hard for me to really buy into it, but yeah,
Believe
it's
it
just
or
not
not,
my.
I have some insight. I
I want to hear.
have some stuff I've studied, but real quick, from Facebook, Patricia Thurston, for me being little, I have to customize, but rather follow builders who will talk to me so I can learn. So, I mean, that's a whole nother thing, man. Like, I like to surround myself with the same kind of people. So I dig what you're saying there. The people that, are so giving, like a Will Ramsey, like a Bill Dodge, when you get to talk to them, builders that you can go up to and they just, will strike up that conversation with you and tell you what it is that they did. They'll tell you how you can make the stuff that you did better. Those are the kind of people that I like to hang out with.
Yeah, that's Ditch, by the way.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's Ditch.
How about me? I don't even know Ditch's real name. That's so biker. Yeah. That's so biker right there. But hey, back to green motorcycles. So starting this off with, there's 4 or 5 like wild rumors that go around all the time that the green motorcycle thing comes from all the way back in the war era, that through the campaign in Germany, that the green motorcycles stuck out in the snow. They became easy targets for German snipers. There was the whole America Britain thing where British motorcycles were often, the racing motorcycles were green, and that was the whole rivalry that went on between United States motorcycles and Britain. And it's really like there's tons and tons of stories, and it goes beyond motorcycling into automobiles, and there's even stuff that comes way back from before there were even bikes or cars. Even all the way back in the works of Shakespeare himself, he talks about green-eyed monsters, or you're familiar with terms like green around the gills, green with envy. Like we've used the color green to designate negative influence almost in every period of man's existence. So
interesting.
I'd still like to know if somebody has a real line on the green motorcycle thing, but that's my study. That's what I found.
Green cars don't bother me that much.
So let's go to some more of the real news that's out there.
Okay.
What do you got for us this week?
Instead of you and I blithering.
Yeah, right.
Let's do
Harley Davidson.
Yeah, let's do that one.
Okay. So, you want to kick this off, or
Yeah, sure. It just came out. Harley Davidson's worldwide sales dropped 7% in Q3. Now, I don't know. I'm sure there's people out there that are way smarter than I am. They can actually go through and read a Q3 report, financial report and it's difficult. It's not that much fun. So I look at kind of the condensed version. The one thing, so as a lot of people know, the sales were down 6.9%. But it's not like that black and white, that's the headline, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing that everybody likes to see, or that, that media like to pick up on. I think there's a much bigger story there, with, kind of, in terms of like net income, and then also profitability,
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's where I think that's where we really need to, and also unit sales. So those are the things that I think you really need to drill down to really get kind of a better idea of what it is that they're talking about. Don't you agree?
I do agree, and this is a time where we as a country and a culture, we exist in sensationalized media. And, even in the motorcycle industry, like immediately everybody wants to go to, oh my God, Indians killing Harley. And man, the truth is motorcycling has taken an ass whooping. motorcycling in general. Harley Davidson's, even with their dip in the market right now, they're still, as far as American-made big motorcycles, they're like somewhere around the 50%. They're just under 50% as far as market share goes.
Mm-hmm.
Indian is rising, which is a good story. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Indian is rising. Their market share is growing, but they're still in single digits.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you look at their motorcycle sales. So they haven't released their Q3 yet. So all you can really look at is Q2, which isn't super. That's not really fair. But their profit in second quarter just on motorcycles alone was $21 million.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
Hey,
that's nothing.
Listen,
in comparison,
that's still good. That's still good business. Probably not compared to the amount of money that they've spent to get that brand to where it's at right now.
Yeah,
definitely.
But $21 million for a quarter for a company that size is not. It's just not a ton of money. And the thing that I look at is specifically unit sales. And I don't think Indian actually releases their unit sales. Maybe we could get it through the MIC, but Harley unit sales, they were down 8% domestically, from 45,000 last year to 41,000 this year, same quarter. And then they fell only 4.5% internationally. But internationally, that's still less than half of that. Of that domestic number. So they're still not selling as nearly as many overseas everywhere else as they do here. No. So that concerns me. And this is, the ongoing conversation that you and I have had about so what is it that's happening with the motorcycle industry? Is it new riders aren't, older riders are not riding anymore. New riders aren't coming on as much, or is it, the fact that, some of the new riders they're not buying new Harley Davidsons?
Well, and if you look at motorcycling overall, and obviously, just like you said, I'm no financial wizard, so I can't tell you what Yamaha and Honda and everybody else's quarterly reports are as they are apply to the United States and American sales. But I can tell you that just in general, being at places like the AIM Expo and expos even in other countries, there's a great question brewing. How do you get new riders into motorcycling in general? Because what we're really finding out as an entire industry, all brands, all manufacturers, is motorcycling is down. And this is something like I would suspect that if you looked all across all activities, all actual physical outdoor engaging activities, all of that is down because we're in an age where the younger people that are coming into the market by force that we're looking to have as participants and new customers to all this, they're just not. They exist.
They're staring at their phones and
bubble.
They just have a different way of recreating. They want to take pictures of themselves in the bathtub. I don't know why.
It's a weird time, Ken. It really is a weird time.
It is. It's. I mean, that's what I see. I feel
older every day.
One of our friends, I've seen pictures of him in a bathtub. It's weird. I don't need to see that.
Another one of our friends,
I don't care how much foam there is.
You're right. Yeah. Hey, man, move the boat. Move the boat over. The boat. Yeah. Get the boat back.
So Matt Levidich from Harley Davidson, he's the president and CEO. And he said, this is his quote, "The continued weakness in the U.S. motorcycle industry only heightens our resolve and the intensity we bring to the quest to build the next generation of Harley Davidson riders." And then he goes on to talk about launching 100 new high impact, and the one thing that I will say is that he's staying on message.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's, I would like to see how that's happening.
Critical for their survival, though. They're going to have to stay on that message.
No,
you know what I mean?
Sure. There's no other way to do it, So
a couple things real quick. I got Brian Murphy from Facebook coming in. Bike building and customizing has many levels. One, a guy that has a bike and no real skills or tools to purchase item from a builder website or JMP and bolts them on. Yep. Gina Wood says everything's sounding great. John Aria, great discussion, guys. Thanks. So we got some people chiming in from Facebook, man. You leave your comments there, and I'll try to keep up to them as we're talking. I didn't mean to.
So who was the first guy? What was his name?
Brian Murphy.
So Brian, I was that guy. I am that guy. I remember sitting in my garage and looking at a Yamaha Radian. that I had cut the backbone on. And Chris, if you could have seen the welding on this thing, it was so bad.
Yeah.
And I was convinced that I was going to go and try to make some parts for this thing. I ended up selling it before I did that, but that was like my first foray into. There was no way I was going to be able to. I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would have the bike that I have in my garage right now.
Right.
Like it just never even crossed my mind. I was like, I would be lucky to have some pile of crap, that I like bolted together and was a complete death trap. So I think part of that is just, and this is where, I get to be motivational Ken. Like I had to envision that, I had to go, you know what, that is something that I really aspire to. Some people, that's not their thing. They don't necessarily want a custom bike, but I really put that in kind of the crosshairs of the things that I wanted in life. And I just happened to get one from an awesome builder like Jeff Cochran. So
I think that's kind of the logical progression of the evolution of a motorcycle rider too. In one way or another, like no matter if you end up in adventure sport riding, touring, like whatever, you start off with any piece of shit that you can get on a road and you make do with it. You go out and you have a good time and you make improvements as you go, however that's going to be, whether you're
so
riding
quick.
parts.
I got to tell this quick story, and then I know we're kind of running low on time. I guess we're just chatty Cathy's today, but I want to tell this story because I think it's important. So my friend who has the best wife in the world called me and said, "Hey, I want to buy him a Harley for his birthday. And I wanted to just be in his garage, be in our garage when he help me do that." So we found him a
that was
dyno.
my wife that called you.
Yeah, his wife called me and said, I want to get him a bike for his birthday. So we went and did that a year ago. Was it a year ago? Yeah, I think a year ago. It was not in his garage. I shit you not. Less than a week before he had the entire thing torn apart.
No shit.
And he's never owned a motorcycle before. And it was just like he instantly had that kind of instinct of like, oh, well, I want to change the bars and I want to paint this and I want to paint, and some of it, in my opinion, maybe not the best choices. That's okay. Like everybody's got their own thing, but he made it his own, and I think that really speaks to what you're talking about, that's kind of the evolution. That's really what Harley Davidson offers and what a lot of other companies, Indian's starting to get there, but it's still really difficult to customize an Indian. And I think that's where Harley Davidson, especially the older ones, are really a lot more accessible to customize like that.
So while we're sitting here talking, we want to send out some best wishes for everybody in Daytona this weekend for Biketoberfest. Biketoberfest is rocking right now as we're talking. Willie's Tropical Chopper Time is going on, and boss, we send out all the best to you, him and Roadside Marty and all the guys there helping out, Marcus, everybody. And coming up this Saturday is Sons of Speed, which is sort of going to lead us into our next segment because we have someone that is actually boots on the ground with Sons of Speed. Is
he actually going to answer his phone? I almost came off of that like from the beginning. I'm like, X isn't going to answer his phone, right? He's not going to call us.
And listen,
I'm thinking he's at the track right now.
He said it to me too. I said, "Hey man, can you come on Thursday? Quick 10 minutes with us." He says, "As long as I can do it from the track, because we'll be practicing." So
So as long as he's not on a motorcycle right now.
So hey, we're going to get started with this portion of the half hour, which is the weekly report interview.
All right. That's a lot of dead air.
Like I said, man, it's a show in progress. We're working on it. So
please enjoy this Verizon ringback tone while your party is reached.
And look what happened. Just what you said. See, this is the danger of not having an engineer actually sitting there working with you.
Sure.
So, hey, I'm doing the best I can.
That's okay.
I'm trying.
Will he call you back?
He will. He will.
Cool. So, why don't we go into the thing that I just sent you? Did I send it to you or not?
At the very end.
Yeah,
Yes.
I sent you like right before we got on air.
Yep.
I don't even know if you had any time to prepare anything or not, but it was just announced that there is a lawsuit against Indian, Roland Sands, and the Buffalo Chip when Roland rolled that bike off stage. at the Buffalo Chip, which I think you remember from a few years ago, right?
I do.
So it wasn't this year, it was the year before.
Let's all together. Put your hands together for Super Hooligan Racer, AMA Road Racer.
Yeah,
there it is.
Skills Bike Builder Roland Sands, ladies and
Is
gentlemen.
that?
Put your hands together.
That's the video from the website.
Okay, so you're playing that. Yeah, it's so painful
Bike
to watch.
has no front brake.
And dude, right as the guy said this bike has no front brake too.
Yeah, and then everybody's laughing in the background, which is terrible. You know,
It is.
And I have, I don't have an opinion on this or whatever, but I just think that it's important that we as an industry don't think that we're immune to these sorts of things, because we are not,
God.
and, it's just, it's just like any other place in the world. It's a really litigious society. And I think people need to be really, I don't know how many times you and I have gotten lucky with various idiotic things that we've done and have been either close calls or whatever, that have not.
Oh, this may be our interview.
Okay.
How you doing? You're live with Chris and Ken on the Weekly Report.
Okay, I'm live.
Okay.
So
Okay, I'm live. So do I get to do a jig now and do a little dance?
You're
do a little
on.
Dance,
You're on,
make a
baby.
little love.
So you're on the
Race
phone.
the
You're on the
motorcycle.
phone with Chris and Ken, and this is Xavier Muriel with Providence Cycle Works, and you're trackside, right?
I am at the track. It is a beautiful day. We had some ugly weather earlier, but a little cloudy now. The blues come out. Bikes are running. It's all good, man. It's a good day. So, yeah, we're trackside. We've got test day today, tomorrow, and then actual race day on
And
On Saturday. Race day on Saturday. I'll finish his thought for him.
there you go. You still there, X?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Try to hold your left arm up in the air because you were coming in and out for a second.
Okay. I'll stand on one foot. And put my ponytail in the air. Maybe I'll get better reception.
So how many bikes in the Sons of Speed race in Daytona for Biketoberfest?
Currently, we have a field of 16 racers, which is
Right on.
double what we had in March. So this thing is gaining momentum. There's a lot of guys that have come from all over the country for this. And the one that Billy's putting on in March is looking like about a heat or a race field of about 24 racers. So it's gaining momentum, man. For the third one, we had the first one at Bike Week 17, and then we had Sturgis, and then the one.
Listen, you gotta tell me, Matt Waxler, is Matt Waxler actually on property with that thing that we've been seeing on the on social media?
What's that?
I said Matt Waxler, is he on property with that bike that he built on social media?
Oh
with?
yeah.
Oh,
He just
dude.
ran. As a matter of fact, right before you called, he just ran a little test run with Billy, and they were getting it, man. Some of these bikes are getting up into the 75 and plus range. So
I believe it. I think on that straightaway, it seems like, because you end up slowing down so much on the banks, so you have to, but it seems like on the straightaways you're just gunning,
Yeah, and the thing is, with those bikes, they weigh pretty much nothing. We're running the same rims and tires that they basically were running, 90 years ago, except we have a little bit better technology. And those they cook, man. Some of these motors are only putting out 7 horsepower, but when you've got a light bike like that, and you come out of that corner and you drop in, you're already at 65 miles an hour, much less throttling in to get out of the apex. So dude, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It'll definitely make you check yourself. That's for sure.
So listen, anybody that's in and around the Daytona area, man, do not miss this. It was, I had questions myself about, like, is this really going to be cool? Like, how fast could they probably go? And from the first one that I saw, I was completely addicted to this. This is incredible. Once in a lifetime opportunity to see something like this.
Oh yeah.
It's the
The thing
coolest
is
thing,
you don't
sure.
you don't really get it till you actually see it live. Watching it on Instagram and some stuff on YouTube, whatever, it's like any other motorsport until you've seen live drag racing, live NASCAR, live monster trucks. You just don't get it until you actually see it live, because you smell it, you hear it, and you definitely feel it, man. You get a heat of about 4 or 5 guys that are 3-4 wide on a 30-degree bank track doing about 60+ miles an hour. It's kind of exciting, man. So the last crowd that we had at Bike Week was sold out. The stands were completely sold out. So we're anticipating a bigger turnout this time, and then even bigger than that for March.
Well, listen, man, please pass along our best wishes and good luck to everybody. Everybody stay safe out there. But the thing that we want to talk to you about today is there's a little show coming up in Texas that you're involved in. And
kind of like that intro, the little band from Texas.
Little band from Texas. So we want to talk about you as the bike builder, man, because we had one of your motorcycles on the cover this year of Cycle Source magazine. You're Invite Builder for In Motion, and dude, you're killing it. I love the style of your machines. Can't wait to see what you bring to Texas.
Man, first and foremost, I'm just really grateful to have been even asked to be a part of the In Motion show in Galveston.
Okay.
Even think that the possibility of me having a motorcycle there is pretty mind-boggling, and it's pretty ridiculous. And I'm absolutely stoked to build a bike, and I've had some really great sponsors. I've S&S and Baker Transmission and Tech Cycle Performance and Paco, and just a lot of people have come to the table and been really super supportive of the vision that I had, and I'm really excited. I don't know what the future holds as far as what's going on, and I don't want to, because my crystal ball broke a long time ago. I just know I'm living in the moment, and besides doing the Sons of Speed thing this week, I'm trying to finish up that build so that I can get it to, because Billy was kind enough to let me build the bike in his shop after Sturgis, because it was out there for the Grease Garage and Gears tour, and my time on stage there, so it came here, and it just made sense. But I lost 3 weeks because of Hurricane Irma, so I actually feel what the guys have been going through as many years as I've been keeping track and following these guys, and it's pretty intense, man. It really is, but at the same time, it's very exciting because I've had so busy with the Sons of Speed. It's been, it's kind of, it's my build, and I'm really excited about it. And, I hope people do. And if they don't, all good, man, because, at the end of the day, as long as I build the best motorcycle I can for myself, and if other people see my vision and they like it, I'm grateful, man. If not, I've met my commitment, and I get to do a shakedown ride with all these great guys. And that's the most beautiful thing about the show, is that they have to run. I've been to so many events across the country, and I'm sure anybody who's listening, or even you guys, that there are some situations where you go to these events and you see these bike shows or these build-offs or whatever you want to call it, and you go and you look at these motorcycles, and it doesn't have a chain or doesn't have calipers, or I've even heard of situations where there's no guts in the motor, and I'm like, I don't understand that. It's kind of like a big paperweight, and right. I kind of just don't subscribe to that, as I'm sure a lot of people do. And I'm really thankful that there's a show that's kind of like, hey man, motorcycles are built to be ridden. They're not paperweights. So this is what's going to be required of this event. And I think it's awesome. I think there should be more situations like that. Again, it's my personal opinion, but I think it's going to set a bar from now on, because for far too long, a lot of that stuff is just kind of glided by because it's so-and-so and he's got this name or that product or what have you. And at the end of the day, if you can't kick it or, fire it up and take it down the road, I really don't see the the necessity.
And you know what, like in the beginning of this week's report, we were talking about that, because the news is out that OCC is coming back, and there's varied opinions, about how people feel about that. But the one thing that I can say is that if you're not building a motorcycle that runs, that functions, it's a disservice to the state of our industry. You know what I mean? Because
absolutely.
Someone's going to end up with that bike, and they're going to have a bad time. And as we said time and time again, if it's a drag, people check out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
for sure.
Right.
I think that integrity is an absolute must, and has to be brought back into what we're doing.
Yeah, and to me, and again, this is just my personal opinion, but I don't care if you're a new kid on the block who's building stuff out of a one-car garage, or if you're a guy who's got a 5,000 square foot with every Bailey product in there or what have you. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a motorcycle. It should perform like a motorcycle. It should start. It should stop. It should shift, and most of all, it should be safe. And
Agreed.
I kind of think it's been lost in the shuffle of the shiny cat toy syndrome. So
Shiny cat toy, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Ken, what do you got for Xavier?
Nothing. I mean, I always come back to the time that I was in Daytona and I went to the Rat's Hole show, and there was a guy that had his bike on a dolly because the rear wheel didn't spin. Like you couldn't actually roll the bike, and that's like the epitome of complete non-function. You can't even roll it around. Then that bike should not be in a bike show. I'm sorry.
Right.
It's just not. It didn't have enough clearance. Something. Air. Blah blah blah. Whatever it was. It just doesn't matter to me. I'm like, that's not a bike. That's like a piece of metal sculpture or whatever. But it's not a motorcycle. And so I think the more functional, kind of creativity that goes into it, where it can actually be ridden, is what it's what I'm after, for sure.
Right,
so,
right.
I'm excited.
And I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that love the eye candy aspect of it, but you wouldn't take a car from a factory and put it on a show floor without a motor in it. So, I mean, what's the difference? It's, I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it. It looks really nice, but it doesn't have a motor. That costs more. What?
So X, what time is race time on Saturday down there?
Gates open at 10, and we've got a lot of stuff going on, man. We've got a bike show. We've got some vendor stuff out here. Hot Leathers is going to be here with a bunch of Sons of Speed stuff. We have a meet and greet with all the riders in the stands. I think there's some live music, and then the actual races start at, I believe, 3. There was some complications as far as timing schedules because of some other stuff, so we had to move some things around, but I believe it's 3 o'clock. We had a big rider meeting day before yesterday, and I think that's what they kind of settled on, because, again, like I said, there's a field of 10-plus riders, so by the time we get all the heats done and then the semifinals, and with these things, it's not like a normal motorcycle situation. They have to be warmed up, they have to smoke, and then you've got to have four guys drop in from a 30-degree bank at the same time, hold a line, have the pace guy come around, and then drop the hammer, and here we go, 5 laps, and he who wins moves on to the next one. So they're done really quickly. There's not a lot of time in between heats because they're 90-plus-year-old motors, so they're not made to run that long. We do 5 laps, and that's it, and they got to come back and get re-oiled and retorqued and all that type of stuff. And that's the beauty of it, It's a hands-on thing. It's a very, viewable mechanical thing. All the push rods are sticking out. The lifters are bouncing around. Oil's flying everywhere. No clutch, no brake, a kill switch, 1 gear, and go.
That's it.
When I say that, I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing?
Why am I here?
If there's any confusion as to what time, you can go to Choppers Inc. On Instagram. You can go to Cycle Source Magazine. You can go to the Real XM. There's a lot of guys that have been gracious enough to repost this stuff, so that the times will be on that. And I know there's a new SmyrnaRaceway.com website you can go to that will give you all the information. So it's definitely attainable out there.
Right on, man. Well, listen to me carefully when I say this. Do not.
Yes, sir.
Do not do anything to jeopardize your safety in your arrival to Texas.
I see.
Well,
what this is, Chris.
Here's the funny thing, Chris. You should mention that. I'm kind of an old dog, and I'm all about getting home and being safe and having a great time. I leave the younger, hotter, the tricks and the speed demons and the guys that want to throw their balls on the track. I leave that to them, and they do it, and they do it well. I've got a lot of things that I still want to do, and there's no need for me to go and destroy a 1913 Perry Mac motorcycle that was hand built by Billy Lane. So I'm having a great time. I'm enjoying myself, and as long as everybody goes home safe and everybody's had a good time, that's all that really matters. All the trophies and and all the bragging rights, I leave that to the other guys. So I'm just here to have a really good time, and I'm grateful to be able to be a part of it. So.
Nice.
Well, cool, baby. Listen, tell Billy and Aaron that we send our best.
Sure.
Good luck,
I will.
Good luck and everything in there, and I'll see you in Texas. I'll see you in Austin.
I will see you, my friend, in a couple of weeks. Ken, always a pleasure to hear your voice, my friend, and I hope I see you soon.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
All right, brother.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
That's so awesome. I love talking to him, dude, because he just, like, energy pours out of his body. He loves this shit so much, it's funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm interested to see if his build has any kind of Sons of Speed kind of vintage feel to it. You know, if there are any things that get integrated into it from all the time that he spent on that Perry Mac and all those other kind of, you know.
That's almost, I almost wanted to break in when he was talking about, yeah, you know, I got this going on and that going on. And if somebody likes my bikes, I hope so, but I don't really care. I was like, yeah, you shouldn't care. You're getting to build bikes in Billy Lane's shop, you know, like kind of working there sort of as the sorcerer's apprentice, you know, picking up stuff as he goes. And yeah, invited to one of the biggest shows this year. He's killing it with the bikes that he's building. I mean,
yeah, the bike.
We should probably try to get back on schedule.
Yeah, let's try to get Mike on here.
Our next guest is one of the most amazing people that I've met in my time in the motorcycle industry. He he's done so much. I mean, he's taken the Indian motorcycle, the original Indian motorcycle, and basically re-engineered every single part that was on it, externally, internally, made them work better, made them infallible, and always a pleasure to run into him and get to talk to him. And he is also going to be one of our in-motion builders. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to try to dial up Mr. Kiwi Mike Thomas from Kiwi Indian.
Excellent.
And hopefully this is going to work well for us.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, you know, I'm bummed that I'm missing Sons of Speed. You know, that him just talking about everything that's going on down there and everything, it really makes me, you know, wish that I had gone down and seen it, because that first time.
Mike speaking.
Kiwi Mike, you're on the air live with Chris and Ken on the Weekly Report. How you doing, buddy?
Good, thanks, mate. And you just let me get away from this. We're just test running a motor. Just hang on.
I love Mike. He never takes a break.
Yeah, right in amongst it. All right, we'll try this.
So, Mike, in my opening dialogue for your segment, I was talking about the fact that you've taken the original Indian motorcycles and basically re-engineered every part externally, internally, made them infallible. Most recently, in the picture that's up on our screen right now, is the fact that you've now replicated the original frames.
Yes. Yeah, that's the original rigid frames. That's the first ones that have ever been done ever in the world. So, yeah, they've gotten real rare.
And
so,
this
the
was
demand is there for it.
This was a tech article in the magazine. This was about gas welding. You were gas welding these frames like they did originally.
Yeah, bronze welding.
Bronze
brazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right
yep.
on.
That's what they did is they actually studied that the angle that actually put the frame in a jig, and then just tack weld every single part of it, all the joints, and then they would actually put it on a big meat hook.
Seems to be the popular thing today. We're going to have to give out instructions.
And another guy would come in after that and braze it, which was me. In this case, modern era.
Modern era.
So they'd put it on a meat hook so that it would fill in the hole, right? Or fill in the weld, where the crease is. Is that right?
It was just imagine a big long clothesline, and they would set the frame after it'd be tack welded, because we're talking production, you know.
Sure.
Not just like onesie twosies like we're doing today, but you know, these guys are doing production. So they'd hang it on a line. They couldn't have a jig for each one, so every one was fixtured in a jig and assembled, then tack welded, pulled out the jig, put on a big meat hook, hung by the neck, and then a guy would be standing there with a big flamethrower and just heat up, which actually took quite a bit of digging. All the years I've been dealing with Indians, I finally found a picture of how they actually did it.
Wow.
So it took a long time for me just studying it. I just studied it. Like, okay, when we pull the frame apart, there's the tack welds right there. And on my frames, I stood on the same angle and did exactly the same tack weld as the guy would have done in 1938, 1937, 1935.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
So, pretty cool discovering that stuff.
So we were just talking to Xavier Muriel, who's trackside with the Sons of Speed, and racing is the hot topic right now, buddy. And you were just yourself at the Rolling Sands Beach deal.
Hey, I lost you.
No, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
I said racing is the hot topic right now, and you yourself were just at the Rolling Sands Beach race, right?
Yes.
What was that? Yeah,
that was way cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it was way cool. I mean, the energy there was anything Roland does is and his team are first class, and it just puts a lot of it's just a lot of energy. I mean, the vibe of it was right on the beach. So the parking lot, the track was actually built on the blacktop, probably about a foot of dirt they put in there. It's 400 cubic yards, and just built an awesome first-class track. And we were set up there in the vending, but I didn't really want to spend much time in the vending. Actually, I didn't. I actually spent most of the track side. It was just a great event. I had some artists there. I mean, it was just a really good chemistry, a really good vibe going with the whole thing, and you've been right on the beach in perfect weather. It didn't get any better than that.
Right on. Well, speaking about being right on the beach, we got a pretty cool show coming up here in Galveston that you are going to be one of the invited builders for the first ever In Motion show.
Yeah, that's way cool. That's way cool. Be part of that.
The part of this that I love, man, is that last visitor was Xavier Muriel, our last guest. Last week we had Jeff Cochran, Ryan Gore. The week before we had Bill Dodge and Will Ramsey, and the diversity that's coming out of this. I mean, everybody from you the whole way to some of these guys that are building some of the most modern stuff like Chris Moose. It's going to be some truly, truly amazing motorcycles.
My stuff modern? I think you got that in the wrong breath.
No, that's what I was saying. I said everybody from you to guys who are building modern stuff, because I know you're probably not going to do anything newfangled. It might have a starter.
No. Still even got a Kickstarter on this old deal.
Right on. So what do you think? Yeah. Some of the other guys are stressed. Some guys are done already. Where are you at with your build, Mike?
Comfortable. You always got stuff that you run into at the last, but you try and plan way in advance of stuff. There's always, I had some stuff at Powder Coat, and unfortunately that took quite a while because we're out here on the West Coast, we're up against SEMA going on. So
right.
Instead of that taking a few days, which my guy normally turns around real quick, that threw a big spanner in the works. But I'm comfortable at the moment.
What do you have going on with SEMA?
Usually I just take some bikes up there. But out here on the West Coast, people are doing their vehicles for SEMA to, prototype, debut.
Yeah.
So show off. But for me, I just take some bikes up there and just to exhibit them at different locations. I mainly do it with Kelderman or Kelderman trucks. I have them there.
So for some people who might not be aware of this, we were working on your biography the other day for the In Motion show, and we started going a list of credits. Mike can, and you've known Mike for quite a long time too, but
sure,
I'm always impressed when I start going through his history and the people like Mike's built bikes for Billy Joel, and he's done stuff for Mike Wolf on Pickers. He does stuff for Jay Leno out of the Jay's Garage. Like, he has a pretty fancy clientele.
Sure.
I don't know. So I don't know. It's all good. I mean, I don't. Every day I get up, I'm just wondering what news going to happen. So I mean, there's always a lot of good, exciting stuff going on, from the bike builds to the people I meet along life's way.
Well, that was
including Chris and Mike Xavier. They're not bad blokes. Not bad blokes.
That was the theme of the conversation from earlier, Mike. We were talking about guys who, regardless of trend or availability or anything else, just there's some people in this world that just can't leave things alone, that whether it's a quest of knowledge or the satisfaction of making things with your hands. And you have absolutely embodied this. I mean, excuse me, to your credit, how many different part numbers do you offer now for the antique Indian motorcycles out of Kiwi Indian?
Probably somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 altogether with our replica bikes and all the parts on those. And that's a problem I see. I keep thinking to myself, too. I mean, I got to re-engineer. Everything I look at, I got to look to see if I can make it better. And that's a plus and a minus. You know, it's just you can't leave anything alone, so you got to redesign it. And, I mean, but that's what separates myself out from everybody else in the Indian reproduction stuff is I call my stuff re-engineered. So if I can make it better, I can make it better.
Mm-hmm. Right on. All right, Mike. Well, listen, I appreciate the time today, buddy. We'll look forward to seeing you in Texas. We're going to be doing a lot of interviews and stuff from down there. I can't wait to show the world what you bring to the Emotion Show. What do you got coming up big for Kiwi Indian? Anything we can promote for you?
Oh, I haven't had time to stop and think about it, to be quite honest. I got a new 101 model. It's a 1930 model that'll be out for next year. It's most of the way done now as far as prototyping. So I'll have the production one out early next year. So that's another one, a cool model. So the one we're doing here is our 1920 Power Plus era. Yeah. And then the one for next year, I'll have the 101, which has been a dream of mine for a long time. So that's really exciting.
Excellent.
Right on, Mike. Well, we'll keep up on your stuff through the magazine and through our social media and maybe get you back on here once you have that 101 finished off. We can talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah. Thank you for everything you and Heather do for the whole industry. I mean, that's big what you do. You showcase a lot of builders, a lot of lesser-known folks, and give them a chance showing off their wares and their creativity. So it's really, really cool what you and Heather contribute to the industry.
Oh, it's our pleasure, man. It really is. It really is. This has been it's a wonderful way to make your way through life doing something like this that you actually love. So I appreciate you letting us be part of it, Mike.
It's like we don't have a job. Every day is just like your hobby.
Yep. Yes, sir. All right, buddy. Well, thank you for taking the time with us today, and we'll be catching up with you again real soon.
All right, mate. Have a good one.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Mike.
Okay.
All right, cool. He's absolutely the best. I could spend so much time with Mike just talking. His stories are so far out.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. I've always wanted to. I've never been to his shop, and I'm not necessarily he's not necessarily near anything, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, but I've always wanted to go by there.
Riverside, baby.
Yeah. The next time I'm out there, I really want to go by there and just sit down with him for an hour and get his whole story.
So let's try to zoom through some more of the news. I'm going to give you the floor here for a little bit and try.
Really, I don't know that there is any other.
There
news.
is.
What other news is there?
Well, you sent me some stuff on company acquires Bramo, excuse me. Listen to me, fake news.
Somebody bought them. Cummins bought them. I think that they were actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think they were actually bought by. They were bought by somebody else, and then they just got sold. I think Polaris maybe owned them or something. They were trying to do something in the electric. On the electric side, it's funny. The electric side really hasn't taken off, other than Zero, which they just announced their new 2018 models. And even with that, they're not selling a ridiculous amount of bikes. They're just selling enough to kind of get by and keep going. And it's, I don't know where that, until batteries become less expensive, those bikes are still going to be, I think one of Zero's things that they said was you're going to be able to start charging them at charging stations that they have set up for cars, and that in, basically an hour, so a lunchtime, you can charge your motorcycle and it'll take you, 110 miles or something like that on a full charge. What they don't tell you is that that's another $2,300 on top of that motorcycle.
Jeez.
And we're basically talking about kind of a glorified dirt bike. Most of them, that's kind of what they are. And so until that cost of, those batteries comes down, it's going to be, I think it's going to be an uphill battle. I think, the technology's there, but I just don't think until the demand, it's going to be just one of those things until the demand goes up and the price goes down, I think it's going to be a tough sell. So.
Well, man, like I think again we got to talk about the dynamics that are at play here. This is part of the reason why, Harley Davidson is looking to redefine their styling and what their motorcycles are to make them more palatable for European and other country sales. Because in the United States, there's not, when it comes to things like motorcycles, we don't really look at those very much on a utilitarian basis. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
And that is like the electric motorcycle is very utilitarian. It's just about transportation. It's just about, cost-effective transportation, eco-friendly. And I just don't think we're there yet. That's when you go to Europe, you go to countries like Italy, and you can't even park on some of the streets. And all the little avenues and stuff that go in all the side streets, they're packed with mopeds and scooters, and everybody really has it there. They're really eco-minded, and they're really about an A to B machine. And I just don't think that's something that's I think we're probably a decade or more away from that in the United States, if it ever comes this way.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think as with anything, once we still start to feel the pain, we'll start to react to it. But I just don't think that we're there yet. I was talking about it with a buddy of mine, and the fact that they don't have an electric UTV yet, right? So wanted like a side-by-side or whatever. And then I found out actually they do, but it's $35,000 or something. It's just, it's obscene how expensive it is. And so until those kind of price points come down, I think it's going to be a really hard segment to really be viable.
Absolutely. So, in other news, Excelsior Henderson is up for auction.
Again.
I
mean, you and I have been around long enough that we remember when they, revived the brand and everything that went along with that. I think there was a lot of kind of nefarious dealings, is my understanding. They put out an absolutely disgusting looking motorcycle, back in the, whatever it was, early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah.
Must have been the late 90s.
The Super X.
Yes, so not good looking. And so I think that, I don't see anybody taking that brand and making motorcycles. I see somebody taking that brand because it's a bitchin' brand and making, apparel and that sort of stuff. But yeah, it wasn't, I didn't think it was amazing news. It was just like, oh, here we go again, another one of these.
No, and you know what, man? It seems like we're entering in a time where everything's about the buy and sell. I mean, look what's going on right now. We're into, the rumors. I can say the rumors, the second or third incarnation of some kind of deal for Paisano Publications. And, there was rumors not too long ago about even Harley Davidson, and what this stuff is
Ducati,
really.
Yeah. He's talking about selling Ducati. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that going on.
I mean, what this stuff is really worth is, back to what you said about Matt's comments at the keynote of the AIM Expo, is that it's about that experience, getting back to the experience. There's not as much business to be had here as there is experience, and I mean, that's probably a whole nother thing, is the AIM Expo, right? I mean, we have official reports now about the numbers that went on there, and as much as I like some of the diversity they've plugged in and, what their program was, the truth is
it was down.
Yeah, their numbers were down.
Yep. Yeah,
So-
and it was supposed to be kind of, the great white hope there, because we were going to be within stone's throw of all these dealerships, and that was going to drive kind of dealers. But yeah, I did read that, and so yeah, I mean, it's a tough time for our industry, and at the same time, I feel like the people that there's a lot of people that have already been through this, you and I included, where we've seen these downturns happen and then kind of turn around. So yeah, interesting times for sure.
It is. I think again, to reiterate and maybe at this point regurgitate, You know, you got to be in this stuff because you love it. The profit times will come and go. The opportunities are there sometimes, and sometimes you're doing it just for the love of it, or more importantly, and I just had a conversation with one of my builder friends today, sometimes you just have to do things for this industry because it's the right thing to do. You know, you have to be that example, or, you know, set the standard, or, you know, give people the pace that they have to keep based on the fact that it's what's good for our industry. It's what's healthy, you know?
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, I'm a little idealistic, so I don't know.
Yeah, as am I. As am I.
In the world of Cycle Source, there's a couple things coming up that I can mention real quick. We just put an issue to press, and in that issue are the nominations. We ask a couple dozen people from the industry to make nominations for our Best of Awards. Our Best of Awards include things like Man of the Year, Woman of the Year, Builder of the Year, Craftsman of the Year, products, motorcycles, everything. But that issue will be hitting the newsstands in about 2 weeks, and you are all invited. When that issue comes out, both through the pages of the magazine and on the website, you can vote your vote. It's our Readers Award. You can vote for your favorites, your best ofs, and then we publish all the results in our January issue. So please keep an eye out for the December issue of Cycle Source, where we're going to give you guys a chance to vote. And thanks to Mark Velasquez for reminding me doing that. He says he's due to the year already. So if you were looking for that award, Ken, give it up. Mark's already got it in the bag, he says. Wait a minute. Sarcasm's supposed to be my bit. No?
No, I guess not. No, I like Mark. He's a good dude.
He is.
Take some fancy pictures.
Oh, man, he's really been killing it for us. Like this year, this was the year of Mark Velasquez. Like, he really hit his stride with us this year as far as the photography end of things, and just being one of the Cycle Source key guys for photography. He's been killing it, so... Nice. Big props out to you. He says, yeah, right. Not. Now look, typical New York smartass.
Hey, well, I have some things to remind you of, but I won't do it on the air. So
try to give him some love, you know? Oh, geez.
All right, let's get going. I got other stuff to do other than news, unfortunately.
Wait a minute. So you're done with me already? I was so excited to get this whole thing together today and actually have it be successful.
I'm going to throw you out like a cheap suit.
Huh? Come on.
Yeah. It's 110. What do you want me to do?
All
well,
right,
310.
Man. So thanks for coming on with me and spending this time, Ken. Thanks all you guys out there on Facebook, and everyone that's listening to us through Ken's podcast. You can check Ken out at forever2wheels.com. His podcasts are insanely valuable as they mark the history of our times in actual audible fashion. Make sure you check that out. Keep up with us here on this broadcast. And Ken, what do you got?
I don't have anything. I'm just grateful that we've got this industry and that we've got this platform. So look forward to seeing everybody next week.
All right, man. So until next Thursday for the weekly report, I'm Chris Callan.
I'm Ken Conti.
And we're out.
Bye.